What is up? I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. It's Thursday, March 3rd. This is Blinkers Off. What's up, dude?
Jazz hands. I'm excited. I'm very excited for this show. I told you before we got on the air, I said, hey, I don't do my best work at night anymore. I'm old. We do the show at night, and I'm tired by then. But you've got me at 100% today. Feel good. I'm going to make some people mad. Let's piss some people off. Let's maybe make some people happy. I mean, I'm in a good mood, Jared.
I don't used to seeing you, or at least talking to you live this early in the day,
Yes.
So, like I say, usually by the time that you've done like 14 shows and then you do Blinkers Off at the end of the day, and then you're like, fuck it, I don't care, But now you're starting your day off with me. We're early in the day, and we have a big, I guess I'll do 4 since there's big show with Derby Preps.
Big.
Not small.
Yeah, it's not small. No. Listen, the Derby winner may be running this weekend, Jared. That's always exciting. So we'll see what happens. We've got 3 huge races. Now, we do have one little tiny eeny beanie Derby prep as well that we'll talk about. So a lot going on. As Mike Somich would say, a banger of a card at Gulfstream on Saturday. I know, that's his line. A banger of a card at Gulfstream on Saturday. I mean, my goodness, this is the best card since the Pegasus. It might even be a little better than the Pegasus overall from a betting standpoint, where the Pegasus may have the stars. This one's got just like fields that are loaded with potential. Got a few stars on there as well, and a few future stars as well. Of course, Big Cap Day at Santa Anita, always big. So, yeah, big, and then one little teeny one we'll talk about.
Well, I assume the horse you're talking about the Derby winner is running that teeny one with Tiz the Bomb. I think that's probably who you're referring to. We'll get to that in a second. That's got to be it, right?
Oh yeah. Why run him on the turf? Let's put him on the synthetic now and give him a shot.
Let's prep for the Derby on the synthetic. All right. Yeah, it's always a good.
Makes sense.
So that always works out. Yeah, it's a huge weekend. Oaklawn, this is how you put together a card. Just FYI. Because the Rebel card was awful. We could talk about the Rebel a little bit because that was awful too. It was what a day it was last Saturday with the Saudi Cup kind of kicking things off with whatever that horse ended up going like 120. Whoever thought the local Saudi horse would win at like 125 to 1 or whatever the hell it was. And then we ended the day or ended the kind of the live stream and into the stakes, the big stakes action with the 75 to 1 winner. The one-eyed bandit in the Rebel. So, dude, I mean, we had a ton of claims in the fantasy league this past week, and it was probably one of the worst prep weekends. So, explain how that happened.
Well, I mean, we're in a weird fantasy league, right? So, I'll explain why it happened for me. A, I have no horses. B, there's a couple of preps that are winnable that our horses were available. And C, Dwayne Lucas. And that's probably the best answer. Dwayne had a huge weekend. So, his colt at Thrill Road finishes second in the Rebel to a winner that didn't get claimed. But I think people went after Lucas's horse because they know that horse will run and get points back. And then, of course, Secret Oath. Let's bury the lead, right? I mean, the filly dominates again. Perfect 3 for 3 now at Oaklawn Park, and it just blew away the competition in the Honeybee. And now I think everybody's thinking Derby, whether it be a prep or, running the Oaks and then running the Preakness. But people are thinking boys. People are thinking she can compete. And again, Dwayne Lucas is a big reason why.
Yeah, it's if I would have told you at the beginning, hell, if I could have told you like a month ago, that we would have a day in, I guess, early March, where you would have multiple Dwayne Lucas horses with shakes for both of them, meaning multiple teams won. I think Secret Oath had 5 teams in on the claim.
Yep.
You would have thought I was crazy, and that like a month ago even. So it's kind of a summary of, no Baffert horses. Now you got Lucas kind of rewinding the clock a little bit. Yeah, who knows, dude? I mean, whenever he said something about in his quote after the race about Ethereal Road was like, I can develop this one or something. I was like, this horse is going to run 12 times before the Belmont. So he will. And he's probably going to try to keep, I don't know, he might try to keep them separated. He kind of acted like he would try to do that, but you never know with Lucas what he's going to do. If she's not in the Arkansas Derby, I'll be a little surprised.
Yeah, shout out to John White, who wrote a tremendous article about this situation. By the way, he has Secret Oath number 2 in his Kentucky Derby rankings, which was very surprising to me. But regardless of that, he wrote a great article about Lucas, kind of his history, what he's done with fillies. Of course, he won the Kentucky Derby with the filly. And I'm with you. Even though, Lucas has said the things like, I think we'll keep them separate, I don't really believe it. I don't think you do either. And John highlights in the article, and why I brought it up, he's done this in the past with fillies. Like the week of the race when they're getting ready to enter, he's like, no, we're not going to enter. And then the card comes out, and there she was in the race, So we'll see is the best way to look at this. If an absolute monster comes in for the Arkansas Derby, maybe he shies away. But I'll tell you this, he's not really one to shy away from competition. So if she's doing really well and he thinks she can win, I think she'll be in the race.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't think he doesn't think that she's not better than Ethereal Road. Like I think he knows. Like he watched that or the Rebel and thought, okay, like Ethereal Road he ran okay, and I can develop him, but she beat the hell out of that. She would have beat the hell out of that. She got a huge number compared to that. The Rebel, she ran faster. To me, she's. I tried to claim her. You tried to claim her. Of course, we didn't get that. To me, she's a wild card, but she's going to run. Now, we haven't really talked about the fact that Echo Zulu is still out there. Mm-hmm. Well, she's coming back. She should be getting close to a start in preparation, of course, for the Oaks. And then a lot of people early in the year thought maybe she would try the boys. That seems less and less likely the longer we've waited for her return. But I wonder if that plays a factor into Lucas. If she looks amazing in her return, and Lucas is like, well, hell, do I want to face her in the Oaks, or do I want to try this kind of mediocre 3-year-old colt division?
Yeah, I think that's a big, big part of it too. And again, he keeps saying it over and over for anybody that wants to listen. It just depends. It depends on what the boys tell us. The biggest key of a filly facing the boys is how good are the boys, right? So, that's just it. If a couple of horses are missing because of the Bob Baffert situation in these last round of preps, it's like, they were okay, but we can beat them. Then that's going to tell us what he's going to do. Yeah, as far as Echo Zulu, I think she's going to run on the Louisiana Derby card. I think she'll be in the big filly race there. Supposedly training really well, a little bit behind schedule. But if you remember, Malathot just had one prep and then boom, Kentucky Oaks and won it last year. So it's not impossible to do. Like I said, she's supposedly working well. That division looks great. And I guess the consolation prize is Echo Zulu versus Secret Circle in the Oak, or Secret Oath in the Oaks. Okay, we'll take that, right? Like that would be okay with me.
Yeah, if they end up going that route, I'm not going to complain.
No,
right?
No.
Steven says Zulu will be in the Oaks. Yeah, I don't think we're debating that. She will be in the Oaks, and if Secret Oath joins her in the Oaks, if that's the route they go, that will be a hell of a race. At least on paper, it should be.
Yeah.
But not that long ago, Echo was like, it was not a thing, as far as her being dominant in the Oaks division. And now it's like, well, Secret Oath is out there. So yeah, I'm with you, man. That filly is a freak. Newgrange, by the way, just awful in the Rebel. Went off the favorite, of course, a heavy favorite, and was awful. It seems like most people are okay with him falling off the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll find out. Doppelganger this weekend in the or Bafford's got 2, but Doppelganger is kind of his big one in the San Felipe. Seems like if he doesn't run well, and of course Rockefeller, but we know what he is running in the Gotham as well this weekend. But it's like Messier seems like we're getting, as we go further down the road, he might be like the one Baffert that is any good.
It really feels to me like the way they're training him, like they kind of stopped on him. Now they're starting him back up again. Santa Anita Derby, obviously the target. And then would it really shock you if they're just like, you know what, we've got this one and we're not going to mess with it. Santa Anita Derby, Preakness, right? Yeah. I mean, I did not think that was a reality ever, but the more it goes, it's like, I think that's what they're going to do. So yeah. And that kind of leads to another debate of if that's what they do and Messier, it doesn't make the Derby. It's even more of kind of the motivation if you're a filly to try the Derby and not the Preakness, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, and again, this weekend, we're going to talk about it. Like you said, the San Felipe, we may have another horse we're talking about. But yeah, it does kind of muddy the waters of what normally would be tough versus what the reality of what's going to be the toughest this year with this situation that's going on.
Yeah, dude. We are really, the final month, we'll call it 6 weeks, just 6 weeks of preps here. It's really it. And so these next 6 weeks are going to tell the story of what's going to shake out. Of course, this weekend is a big one with Emmanuel kind of stepping up in that Trine Stakes. And, obviously, the one of the few that are kind of in that top tier category. At least a lot of people view him as that, but still you don't know until you run against. So we're going to find out more this weekend about him. We're going to find out more about Forbidden Kingdom and will he stretch out in San Felipe? And of course, is Doppelganger, can he rebound? And then, I mean, we're running the Gotham, but I don't know how much we're going to find out about, whoever wins that race. And, then the Derby winner, Tiz the Bomb, runs at Turfway Park. So we got a huge weekend. But I think the Fountain of Youth, to me, is the one race, and Emmanuel's not the only horse in the race. I mean, Simplification as well, that kind of missed a break last time out. Obviously showed he's a pretty classy horse. So there's a lot of this Fountain of Youth race, which is no shocker, is going to tell us a lot.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, it's the big one, right? I mean, it's going to tell us what horses go where next, because if somebody's dominant, they might start, going other places because there are some weak options out there. I gotta say though, I'll wait till the preview till we get into it. I'm pretty confident on one horse there. And then it's just the rest of them. Gotham, there might be a horse that's decent. The biggest thing for me, the San Felipe could go one of two ways. Like I could see it being a whatever race, or I could see a couple of horses, maybe Doppelganger or Forbidden Kingdom specifically, jump up and be like, wow, we have to take them really seriously now. So Fountain of Youth is going to be great. Gotham, probably not. San Felipe is the question mark. That's how I would lay out the three.
Well, dude, I'm with you. We'll get to all those races. I kind of agree with San Felipe. San Felipe, to me, feels a little bit like it could possibly produce at least one really impressive horse if the horse can stretch out. So, yeah, we'll get to that race. So today's show, let's get to it. We're going to preview 3. Well, we'll do 4. Road to the 3 that matter. 2022 Road to the Kentucky Derby prep races running this Saturday, the 400K Fasig-Tipton Fountain of Youth at Gulfstream Park, the 400K San Felipe at Santa Anita, and of course the Gotham 300K Gotham Stakes. It's a grade 3 at Aqueduct, and then we'll throw in some Turfway Park action just for Halterman's pleasure. Let's go. Oh man. All right, let's kick things off with the Fountain of Youth.
Let's do it.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Derby Prep Saturday Bonanza, presented by the Inside Track to the 2022 Fountain of Youth Wagering Guide. Get this all-inclusive 16-page, that's right, 16-page wagering guide to the 2022 Fountain of Youth. This Saturday at Gulfstream Park features in-depth analysis of all 9 stakes on the card and course, including $400K Fountain of Youth that we're getting ready to talk about right now. Plus, get bonus race by race analysis, betting suggestions, and multi-race plays for the entire Gulfstream Park card. But not just that, you'll also get 2 bonus races on the day as well. The Gotham Stakes from Aqueduct and the San Felipe, where we're getting ready to talk about those as well. That's 3 Derby preps. I don't think we've ever done 3 Derby preps in one single guide, all available. So 11 stakes races total included in this wagering guide. 16 pages in all. Go get this at racingdudes.com on the premium page. Just click the Get Racing Dudes premium button at the top of the menu, or you can get it for free if you are a premium subscriber. Let's check out the Fountain of Youth. Kick it off there. Of course, we talked about that on the opening. This is easily kind of the headline race of the weekend. So much to find out about this one. Of course, this is race 12 on the program, the Fasig-Tipton Fountain of Youth Stakes, grade 2, 400K, 3-year-olds going to mile 16th. Field of 12 going to line up in here. Modonegal's going to scratch out of the race. Galt's going to come in to the race, which might have an effect on the pace situation. Halterman, let's kick things off with the 2, because these are 2, the simplification in Emmanuel. Of course, these odds are going to be are a little different with the scratch of Modonegal. Modonegal, of course, was somehow the favorite. But simplification versus Emmanuel. Simplification, kind of somewhat proven. We kind of know what he is. Emmanuel, we don't. The word is out on him. Everyone's, hyping him up. Pletcher thinks this is his best horse. His size is back aboard. I mean, this horse has been untested in 2 starts. I don't know. I mean, you tell me, where are you going here? How do you look at this race?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm very disappointed that Modonegal scratched, and people might go, you were really going to pick him? No. I'm disappointed because I knew that horse would take money, and I did not think he could win the race. A lot of people with him, I think, are misunderstanding at least what I'm saying about him. He has no chance to win a mile and a 16th Derby prep at Gulfstream Park. Like, it's never going to happen. It's the best thing possible that he drew the 12 hole and is scratching, because he might be able to go somewhere else and win. But with that configuration, the way Gulfstream Park is set up, the way that track plays, he's not going to have a shot. So he was going to take a lot of money, and that sucks that he's out. Unfortunately, my top choice, number 8, Emmanuel, is going to get bet. And he's going to get bet even harder than he was. He was going to get bet anyway. I think he probably would have been the favorite. He's going to be a lot stronger favorite with his stablemate out of there. Listen, I've been all about this horse. On December 11th, I was watching. He won by 6 lengths on debut. I called Magic. I said, we have to do a video on Emmanuel for YouTube, and we have to do it quick because he is a player. Next time out at Tampa Bay Downs in an allowance, that's a move that Todd Pletcher uses a lot with his horses, trying to get them ready to jump up to the big races. Won by 4.5. A horse named Glider for Mark Casse. He's going to run in the Gotham this weekend. We'll talk about him in a minute. Came up to this horse, looked like he was going to challenge him. The jockey barely asked Emmanuel to do anything, and he just galloped right away from him. I can't go against him. I've been waiting for this moment for him. So Emmanuel is the top choice for me. And I'm going into this knowing he's going to get bet pretty hard. I know I can't get a great price on him. I think he's super talented. And by the way, 2 bullet workouts coming into this as well.
Yeah, he's a big colt. He's totally not proven, but you look at that 89 buyer he got in that Tampa Bay allowance. Oh, by the way, hi Cohen. Cohen's watching. Shout out. Hey, Cohen, we need Emmanuel this weekend. Okay.
Hey, he's the number 8. Doesn't Cohen like the number 8?
He's number 8. Yep. You like he's kind of turned into the 1 since Justify, but we haven't really talked about the Justify situation too much. I don't want to ruin the game for him yet. But he used to be, he kicked it when he really first started watching with me. He was always rooting for the pink, the 8 horse. So Emmanuel, we need the number 8 pink silks. He knows most of the silks. So yeah, there you go. Nice. Did you do that on purpose? No, that's good though. No, I mean, he's got one of the top buyers of the entire field, of the entire crop, other than Messier, at an 89 on an allowance race that he just was he didn't try. He just. I think the biggest key for him here is what's going to happen, because he's not going to be able to go. I mean, the fractions were crawling last time out, and then his debut, they were faster. He obviously kind of ran them off their feet there in the first one, so he's capable of going faster. What's he going to do? Is he a need the lead kind of horse? If so, that might be worrisome here. There is plenty of speed signed in here, but him drawing to the outside, you would think he's going to be able to kind of, Luis is going to be able to dictate a little bit what he wants to do. Now, maybe the horse is just naturally faster than all of them. We'll find out. But to me, drawing that 8 post is the perfect position, because he can let Simplification, who don't forget. I mean, yes, last time out he came off of it, but he missed the break badly. Usually this horse is going to be more forwardly placed. You get the 1 that's going to go, or at least be forwardly placed. The 3, in due time has shown speed. AP Secret for Safi is going to show speed. The horse just to the inside of Emmanuel. So to me, Emmanuel not only is he should prove what he is in this race, but if he wins it, like I think he might have to win the race, to me, it will come back as ultra impressive.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about where he's going to be placed as well. I think that is a concern. But you look at the fractions of his first race where he was ahead; they were much quicker than the last time out. So I do think he has it in him to go a little bit quicker early. He draws a great post. That's a good thing, right? I mean, if somebody 2-3 horses are flying out there, he can tuck behind them. And then if nobody goes inside of him, he can fall on the lead here. And I don't project that. I think he'll be sitting 3rd or 4th. I think he has enough early speed to just stay in the ball game and kind of track those leaders. That's what I'm expecting. But yeah, I mean, if he gets behind, gets shuffled back, I think you're in some trouble. We've noted it. Our biggest concern, he hasn't really proven anything, hasn't been in a tough race yet. If he gets beat around a little bit, it might turn into a disaster. So I get the doubters from that aspect of it. But any other doubts, I don't really have. I think he's extremely talented and the one to beat. Now, I think the one that's the big wild card and has the talent to beat him is Simplification, the 2 horse. I don't usually like horses that break poorly and then run up late and get second, because it's just like, yeah, they made an effort and that's good, but they get overbet. It seems like a lot of times. The difference with Simplification, he does have races and multiple races where when he gets the lead, he's really tough to pass. So if he does break better and he does get the lead, we've seen proof that he's going to be pretty tough. And we talked about it a lot with the Holy Bull. This track configuration, short stretch, mile and 16th at Gulfstream, you need to be close, right? You're not going to come from last and win on this track going this distance very often. Simplification is dangerous to me, Jared, because if he gets out to the lead like he has in the past, I think he's going to be pretty tough.
Yeah, I mean, you and I both picked him to win the Holy Bull. We got a sweet price on him that day, and he missed a break, and you thought, you knew it was over at that point. And you gave him a lot of credit for running the way he did, like you said. It's interesting, I do think he's overhyped slightly. I don't think he's a bad horse, but if you tell me that like Emmanuel's got to beat Simplification, then I think that's very doable. Yeah. I do think he is a solid horse. Like I think him running 1-2, these 2 running 1-2 is very possible. Dennis asked the vet scratch for Emmanuel back in Tampa on January 7th. Does that concern you? No, it doesn't. That was just a minor fever is what he got that day, and they scratched him and waited for another race. So no, it doesn't concern me. Everything I've heard from this horse, or from the connections of this horse, is that this horse is the goods. So really, there's not much more you would want based out of what we've seen so far, and kind of I agree. Sometimes with Dennis and other comments, sometimes you just never these horses are so too good to be true type thing, where the workouts look great, and the way the horse's winnings look great, and the connections love the horse. And it's just like, what am I missing? You know, how can this horse lose? You know, so sometimes it does feel too good to be true. And like I said, this is a huge test. I mean, this is a huge moment for him because I know you kind of alluded to it. We were joking around with it being Somobomb, but this is a very legit possible Kentucky Derby winner if he wins like we think he will, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just it. And Dennis does make a good point of, you know, the hyped horses the last week or two haven't ran very well. True. And you're right. It does seem too good to be true. But it also, it's like, you know, if the Todd Fletcher barn's out there kind of saying this is our best, I mean, that's not like Chad Summers saying this is my best, right? Like you can kind of trust what the trainer says when it's
shout out to Chad Summers with the medium dig there.
Well, I mean, Chad's never given me a horse of his when he says it's going to win, wins. And then when they say they're going to lose, they win. So he comes with that. Honestly, I would say that to his face. So, and he would know that as well. So, you know, I just tend to think if Pletcher thinks this horse is really good, and I think Jared said it best. I like simplification. I don't think he's a freak. And if I believe, and I do, that Pletcher thinks Emmanuel is very, very good and his best horse, he should be able to beat simplification. If Epicenter was in this race, I would have a lot more doubt, but I don't think simplification is that level of horse.
Right. No, yeah, exactly. I mean, to me, like, you look at this field, really, I mean, yeah, there's some interesting horses in here. Rattle and Roll, of course, making his there's a couple in here making their 3-year-old debuts. Rattle and Roll, of course, is a grade 1 winner off his last race in the Futurity for McPeak, and he's at that kind of 12-1 price that you can play McPeak at. I mean, there are some horse, you know, High Oak or, you know, Giant Games back for more, and, you know, Howling Time, and some of these horses that are in due time that are interesting. But if you're telling me, like, when I looked at this field and I'm like, well, if Emmanuel is who I think he is, then there's you got to beat this field.
You said it. I mean, exactly right. Yeah, you have to win here, or you run a really, really good second, and, you know, it's just somebody freaks or somebody we didn't think of, like a number 4 In Due Time, who ran a great race last time. Maybe he runs just that great again. And it's just like, well, Emmanuel got second. He ran really well, but this horse freaked. By the way, In Due Time, this is great breeding for this horse. So this horse is bred to be really, really good. A colt by Not This Time out of a Curlin mare, 6-1. That's another one I like, the 4 horse. I think he could step up here and run pretty well. And that's one I think we get every bit of that 6-1 price.
Yeah, this is an interesting one too, because you got Dean's List who beat him 2-back. And of course, that might tell us something more for later, right? With that horse. So yeah, In Due Time is very, very interesting. What about Rattle and Roll? I mean, I know McPeak, you and I are on the same page when it comes to playing McPeak. Got to get a price. Well, you're getting a grade 1 winner last out at 12-1.
Oh,
yeah, right. That's how I feel about it too.
I'm not going to be shocked if he wins. I can't get on board with it. I just can't. You're banking on McPeak saying, wow, this horse is doing really well, really well, really well. He said that about all of these horses, right? Like, Tis the Bomb was supposedly like working amazingly over the dirt, and it was a can't miss, you know, and he didn't run very well. And I don't know. Like, I like Rattle and Roll. It's kind of, he's gonna have to show me he can win before I back him. But I do agree, he is the price that you get McPeak at where you can cash. So if you play him, I'm not necessarily gonna go crazy, talk you out of it. He's not for me.
Which of the 3 kind of like formerly good, or however, whatever you want to call them, formerly have some sort of back class? The 6 Rattle and Roll, the 9 High Oak, and the 10 Giant Game would you rather play?
Definitely not Giant Game.
High Oak, for those who forgot, won the Saratoga Special, dominated the Saratoga Special back last August at Saratoga. Of course, came back to run in the Hopeful, did not run well, got 4th, beaten 9. Goodnight obviously won that one. Haven't seen him since.
Probably. he's stretching out. He's coming out of sprint races. Talking about High Oak. He has a pedigree that should go long. Be better going long. Coming off a long layoff. I guess rattle and roll.
Yeah, I think that's the answer. Just from he's really, other than that, he got pulled up in that second race of his career, rattle and roll. He's always gave you an effort, made a run. And of course, the race should, the horse has always gone long. The race should set up well for him if this, as far as plenty of speed up front. So to me, if I'm going to pick one of these kind of, whatever you want to call them, kind of, seahorses, it to me is rattle and roll makes the most sense, because I'm with you. It's like if he wins this race, like, while it is surprising, you're not really that surprised. Like it's so McPeak, right?
Yeah, it is. It would make sense, and the horses that he's lost to are not too bad. In one of the races, he didn't even show up at all.
He beat Classic Causeway.
Yeah, exactly. And then the horses that he, the horses that he beat, like 10 Gauge, Ignitus, and that Maiden, they're not horrible. And like I said, he beat a Classic Causeway horse at the Breeders' Futurity. So it just kind of makes me a little sick playing him. He's another one too that if he doesn't show any more early speed, and there's no reason to think he's going to be pretty hard pressed to win over this track. Like, it's going to be tough for him. They're going to have to come back to him a little bit. So I don't know. Maybe he's the underneath play. If you get him at 12-1, maybe he can get up there and hit the board. I don't hate that horse. It's just kind of a pause, and I don't know really what to do with him type.
Yeah, no. I mean, and to me, he makes a lot of sense underneath. But at the same time, like you said, with some of these big peaks that we've been seeing, like they've been hyped up, they wouldn't be surprising if he runs just like one pace around the whole track. Or wouldn't be surprised if he wins, and makes a huge run. So you just that's the thing about these McPeak horses. That's why you have to demand prices when you're playing McPeak, because you just don't know. Dennis asked, what about AP Secret? This is a Saffie Joseph horse, of course. It's 2 for 3 lifetime, finished second to strike hard, 2 back. It's been more of a dominating factor on the front end. All 3 races at Gulfstream Park, stretching out a little bit, been running at a mile. Pretty well bred here. A Cupid horse out of an Uncle Mo mare. AP Secret, any thoughts?
Kind of feels like this is my home track and I want to have one. So I'll put AP Secret in there because White Avario is going to the Florida Derby. So we'll just kind of take a swing, take a shot. I think the horse has the running style. I think he can play a part in the pace for sure.
For sure, yeah.
Don't know. He's going to take a massive step up. And I'm not a huge numbers guy. And as far as this one has a 90 and this one has an 89. So this 89, there's no way they could beat a 90. But I am a numbers guy to the standpoint of if you have to improve 20 points, 15 points, you're in some trouble. And that's kind of where I see him right now.
All right. This is obviously all 3 of these that we're going to talk about, plus the Turfway, but these first 3 are 50, 20, 10, 5 for your top 4 finishers. No Bafferts in this one, at least. So all of them are going to get points here, at least that are eligible to get points here. Halterman, you and I are both picking the 8 Emmanuel. Of course, that would lock up if he gets second, he has no points yet. So second would put him on the bubble at 20. But we're both picking him to win to get 50. So how many? I'll put the 2.5 for the over under. How many of these horses are in the Derby?
I'll go over. I think we get 3 out of this race in the Derby. Maybe more. We may even get 4. It just depends on how they split up for this next one, or if they split up, right? And then if some of them split and then some of the also rans find an easier field as far as finishing maybe second in the Florida Derby, they could sneak in there as well. So I'll go over that 2.5 number.
Yeah, to that point, I agree with the over there. And to that point about where they split, is a lot of that's going to be factored in on what Emmanuel does, because Fletcher's been very clear in saying this is my Florida Derby horse, but we'll see how he does out of this. So obviously Modonagall is going to probably go to the Wood. Charger's going to the Tampa Bay Derby. Emmanuel seems to be locked here at Gulfstream Park as his Florida, circuit for Florida, Florida Derby horse. So if he rolls here and is dominant, you might see a lot of these horses just, run and go somewhere else, because especially if they need points, they're not going to want to stick around running the Florida Derby against them.
Yep, that's exactly right. And that's the big key. If he doesn't run very well, hell, you may see the same exact horses at Florida again. So yeah, he's really the key to the whole thing. If he's a beast, then he's probably going to be a way shorter price in the Florida Derby than he is in this one, honestly, because what's driving the price up, I say up, he'll be the favorite, I think, but what's going to drive it to where it's a decent price, I project, is the unknown of, well, can he compete against this? And a lot of bettors will like that known factor of, hey, we have simplification here. He's won a stakes. He's finished second in the stakes when things didn't go his way. Why am I going to play this horse that hasn't even been in one yet? So right. That's why you'll probably get a decent, well, I say decent. You're not going to get below 6-5, something like that on Emmanuel. You'll be
right. And if you think he's the real deal, this is the best price you're going to get. Right here, because he's unproven yet. So if you like him, pound him here. All right, we're both on Emmanuel to win the Fountain of Youth. Let's go to Santa Anita Park for race 6, San Felipe Stakes. It's a grade 2, 400K, 3-year-olds going mile 16. Of course, Kentucky Derby prep race, 50, 20, 10, 5 for your top 4 finishers. Field of 7, but we have 2 Bafferts in the race. Doppelganger being the headliner for Baffert. So we know the points might be a little jacked up here in terms of the top 4 finishers, but he's going to have to beat Forbidden Kingdom. Maybe that horse is going to get the 50. Forbidden Kingdom, of course, a son of AP, American Pharaoh. This horse, dude, I think he's probably the fastest horse in the entire crop. It's just a matter of, can he stretch out to the mile 16th?
Yeah, I think it's the big question mark. I agree. He looked very, very talented last time out, winning that big San Vicente. But like I said, it was 7 furlongs. Now, a lot of trainers have used that as a springboard into going long, and it's worked out really, really well. I think he's at the right track being Santa Anita, and I think he's at the right distance being a mile and the 16th to win in this spot. I don't know about a mile and 1/8. I don't know about a mile and 1/4. I'm pretty confident in a mile and 16th for Forbidden Kingdom. So that's who I'm going to put on top. To me, this is a much, much, much easier race. It's 2 horses. It's Forbidden Kingdom or it's Doppelganger for me.
So Doppelganger was not good last time out, finishing a distant 4th to Forbidden Kingdom that day. Of course, like you said, the San Vicente is obviously a setup race for a lot of these horses, moving into the longer distance horses. But you typically, when it's a good Baffert horses, and you can disagree with me here if you think so, but to me, if you see a really good Baffert horse enter the San Vicente, he's probably going to win. And he didn't. And frankly, he wasn't close. Pinehurst beat Doppelganger. Of course, Pinehurst went on to win the Saudi Derby, just really gutted that one out. And so you have Pinehurst, who even beat Doppelganger in that race. Doppelganger is going to have to rebound. This is a horse that was very well thought of earlier in the year. Looked really good in that Los Al race back in December. So I'm with you. It's going to be Forbidden Kingdom out front. I think the other Baffert in here is attempt to at least try to keep it honest for Forbidden Kingdom and Doppelganger to make a run late. But I just don't know. I just think that Forbidden Kingdom might be so fast that he kind of runs everyone into the ground, and Doppelganger might make up some ground late, but I just don't know how good he is.
That's just it. I'm with you. Your comment on the San Vicente to me was spot on. If a Baffert horse is good and enters that race,
say that again.
You were spot on with the San Vicente,
okay.
And you said it. He had 3 in the race, which that was sign number 1 that he didn't have anybody that was very good, right? Mm-hmm. And Doppelganger was last of the 3 that Baffert had in the race. Now, he is the one that was least likely to win out of the 3, in my opinion, at that setup, because I don't think he wants to go that distance. But you said it again. I mean, I don't think this race is long enough for him to turn the tables. if we're at a 1.8 and Santa Anita Derby, maybe, I know a lot of people think the 3 for Baffert might go out and try to press Forbidden Kingdom. Probably shouldn't be able to do that if Forbidden Kingdom is as fast as we think, So I just think he takes it gate to wire. I see Dennis in the chat thinking we're not going to learn much. I kind of agree. If Forbidden Kingdom goes gate to wire, we don't really learn a whole lot in this race, unless he just dominates, and then we do. But I like Doppelganger. Like, I don't hate him, but I don't get the, he's a beast talk like some. I'm not there with him. Maybe he'll prove it to me on Saturday. Maybe he'll show up with something big. Wouldn't be the first time a Baffert horse kind of outruns our expectations. But I don't know. I'm skeptical. I don't know how good he is. I've got him on the, he's okay level right now.
We'll see. I mean, the one thing you can't say about the 5 is he's been working out like an absolute monster. He's definitely going to move forward. You would think, obviously, just stretching out alone should be enough for him to move forward. But is he good enough to run down the 6? If the 6 turns out to be just like he's purely a sprinter, we'll find out. And like he just stops, and the 5, like I'm with you, Dennis, a little bit there is like, what do we learn? The only thing we learn here, I think, is if the 5 or the 6, Doppelganger or Forbidden Kingdom, just cruise, whether it be Doppelganger just kind of hand rides past the 6 or the 6 hand rides home gate to wire. I think you might learn that, okay, that horse is very dangerous on the front end, or that horse is improved quite a bit from that San Vicente race, being Doppelganger. But otherwise, it does make it a little difficult to learn too much out of this race. But you look at, I'm with you on what you said too about the other Baffert. It's like, you look at the way this horse runs, the 6, and it's just like this horse in every race, the 6, Forbidden Kingdom, has put up almost 21 flat for his first quarter. The 3 ain't touching 21 flat. He has not touched 21. And so in his 2 starts, so to me, it's not going to be hard for the 6 to go out and get the lead and get a lone lead. That's not the issue. It's just, to me, it's a matter of, can he go a mile 16th? And I think it's one of those cases that he can, especially because he can use that speed that he has to kind of dictate things on the front end, because who's behind him is not great.
Yeah, exactly. And I think another point to make on Forbidden Kingdom, and just an overall general kind of handicapping thing that you want to look at, a lot of times the first time a horse that might be a sprinter stretches out, they win. And the reason being, like Jared just said, again, Jared's on fire. When you run a 21 and change opening quarter, and then you go to a mile and a 16th and you can get the lead and you can run a 23 opening quarter and still have that same kind of lead that you've been having when you had to go gun it in those sprint races. When they turn for home, they're like, what the hell, man? I haven't had to run hard at all, and I'm out here by myself. We saw it with the Factor long ago at Oaklawn. He came to Oaklawn for the Rebel, and everybody's like, I can't get the distance. And he got out there on a lead, going way slower, and he dominated. He cruised. He came back to the Arkansas Derby, and everybody's like, well, we can't have him get a lead this time. They ganged up on him. Nothing went his way. He really needed to go 6 furlongs. They tried to go a mile and an eighth, and he flopped. So that's the reason why sometimes even these horses really aren't meant to go 2 turns, that first time they'll get the job done. And that's kind of where I'm at with Forbidden Kingdom here. If he's good, he should win this race. The other thing is his 2 losses. One was on the turf. I draw a line through that. And the other one was to Messier. And I think Messier is the best horse in this crop. So I don't hold that against him either.
Yeah, he bumped up too. He bumped up from a 79 to a 94 last time out, Forbidden Kingdom. So, he obviously has improved as a 3-year-old dramatically from what he was last year as a 2-year-old. To me, you look at that race last time out in the San Vicente, and yeah, they're going shorter, but whenever he went out there and really put it out there on the front end, Doppelganger was like, fuck this, like I'm not going to be close to this, and he just kind of did things his own way. And like you say, like, I don't necessarily see a situation where Doppelganger all of a sudden is like, I'm going to go with you, or I'm going to be closer. Like, and he might be even further back. And to me, it just makes it harder for him to run him down. So I hope we get. I hope Doppelganger keeps the price playable for the 6 because I think he is going to be very tough to beat on the front end. All right. I always ask every one of these because that makes this interesting. I guess 1.5. This is a hard one to do because you got Baffert horses in here and 1.5 over under for the Derby starters of this race. And you remember, Baffert technically can't run one. So
I'm going to go under because I really think that with the Baffert horses, if any of them are going to change, it's ones that they absolutely believe can win. Like they're not going to change trainers with a horse like Doppelganger if he doesn't win, right? So I'm going to go under. I think most years a horse like Doppelganger would be a lock to be in the Kentucky Derby. I think he's good enough to get there, hit the board, in these preps, maybe win one and get there. But I don't think they're sending a horse to a different trainer if they think it's going to run like 6th in the Kentucky Derby. So I'm going to go under. The long answer there.
So basically, we're thinking the winner, number 6, Forbidden Kingdom, is going to be the lone horse that might enter the starting gate of the Kentucky Derby. So that would put it under. I'd probably agree with that just because I'm with you. I don't think those Baffert horses are going to the Derby based off of what we've seen so far. So yeah, Forbidden Kingdom, Halter and I both on that one. All right, let's go to the final 50-point prep of the weekend. Let's go to Aqueduct for race 10, the Gotham Stakes, grade 3, 300K. 3-year-olds going 1 mile. Again, 50, 20, 10, 5 for your top 4 finishers. And the odds are out, Halterin. 7-2, 3-1, 4-1. Those are your top 3 choices. 3-1 at Morello for Asmussen. 7-2, Dean's List, the Pletcher horse. We talked about it a little bit earlier. And then, of course, Rockefeller, another Baffert, at 4-1 all the way to the outside. The Gotham is not known for being a highly productive race when it comes to the Kentucky Derby. Of course, it's being ran at 1 mile, which really muddies things up when you're talking about a March race going 1 mile. So it opens the door for horses that maybe don't want to go a mile and 16th or a mile and 8th, but will accrue Derby points and enough to get into the starting gate. Halterman, what do you think of this field?
It's not awful, but it's not great. I do think there might be 1 or 2 horses in here that can kind of progress and maybe, make some kind of impact on the Derby. And I don't think winning, but maybe can actually run better than normal horses that come out of the Gotham. I really like number 9, Morello. And I do think Morello for Steve Asmussen is one that can kind of progress to a longer distance after this. The pedigree isn't horrible for him. He could go a little bit longer. He's built up really nice. Maiden here at Aqueduct, won 6 furlongs, 1 easy, then went into a stakes going 7 furlongs last time out. 1 easy again. Really haven't asked for his best in either of those starts. Now we're to a mile. Now instead of a regular just listed stakes, it's a grade 3. So logical, very logical progression. I like that about him. I also think there's a lot of speed and he doesn't need the lead. And he can sit right off. He isn't slow out of the gate, but he hasn't been on the lead in either one of his starts. And so I think he could sit, pounce, top of the stretch. I think he's one of the few that want longer than a mile even in here, but I think the mile benefits him because I do think there's some sprinters that probably don't want to go the distance. So number 9, Morello for me. I'm kind of like Mr. Guitar here. I kind of think Morello might win this race kind of easily. I really like him in the spot.
Man, all the hype. I mean, all the hype on this horse is
it's too much hype. I do agree.
3-1 for a horse that just won the Winkfield race. But yeah, I do agree. We have not seen any like the bottom of this horse, and the race sets up very good for the horse, I think. And I kind of view this as like I do view him as the most. Probably like the horse I would be most interested in out of this race, unless he just completely doesn't fire and doesn't look good here. But I'm not going to pick him to win. I just think sometimes this race can be weird in terms of the mile race, and you're going to have a horses, especially being the one turn, that are going to, that are going to be able to look good when they're really not overly good. And the pace is huge here. I'm going to go, I've been on fire this show. Everything I've said has been gold, but I think I might ruin it. right here because I went with my horse Rockefeller, and I just Baffert isn't shipping him out here to lose. And when you look at the way this horse has ran in the past, if he's on the lead, he's winning. Of course, he came out to Belmont. The Nashua normally ran at Aqueduct, was ran at Belmont this year. He dominated the Nashua on the front end on debut. He was on the front end. Last time out in the Sham, it was very clear that they wanted Newgrange to be on the lead. Rockefeller came off of it. He just kind of ran behind him, and he clearly wants to lead. So that to me is the factor here. Can he draws a 10th post. Can he get to the lead and get it to the lead rather easily? Because there is plenty of speed signed in. Dean's List is one of those horses that's, for Pletcher we talked about earlier. He seems very fast as well. So, to me, I got a feeling I'll know pretty quick in this race. You got to tell me if they're midway through the backstretch and Rockefeller's just kind of cruising on the front end, you're going to be worried.
Yeah, I will be a little bit. I can't argue that, what you just said. I don't like him because he was 4th in the American Pharoah. That race has nothing, right? It's awful. He did come over here and win at a mile. He won at Belmont, like he said, but that race, there was nothing there. And then he got 2nd in the Sham. He got beat by Newgrange, who hasn't come back to run very well. Even Newgrange in the Southwest wasn't great. So it's more of I don't think what he's been facing is very good. Now, the caveat is he's not facing any world beaters here either. So that gives him a shot. I think Dean's List, the 5, is a little bit better than Rockefeller, the 10, when it comes to horses that go on the front end. So if I want one that's up top, I want Dean's List and not Rockefeller. I will play Rockefeller in the multis, though, because I got a single in a different race, so I can go a little bit deeper here. So he's going to be on the ticket. So I won't be too mad if he wins, but I'll be kind of surprised.
The thing is, like with Dean's List, I kind of wanted to put him on top because I kind of feel like it's a gate to wire type winner in this race. But I'm not sure. I mean, going 6 furlongs to a mile isn't crazy, right? But he's definitely a sprinter. Dean's List is to me. Like he's a sprinter.
Yeah.
So how far can he go? Will that last bit of the race, last 100 yards, will he really be slowing down? I just don't. Rockefeller, he's maybe not great, but he's definitely just like, he's going to give you a run, or at least he's going to just run one pace or whatever it is. It's just a matter of what's behind him. That to me is the key here, at least in my opinion. I'm not picking him because I think he's great. I'm picking him because I think he can get to the lead and no one else is that good in the race.
Yep.
The 9 is the threat. Play the 9-10, play the 10-9, wherever you look. I do think these horses finish 1-2. Whether it be the 9 runs him down or the 10 holds him off, but I do think that's the most likely outcome here. Halterman, you think this race is decent, so I'll give you 2.5. Well, yeah, 2.5 here. What's the over-under for that?
Under. I don't think we'll end up with more than 2.5. Yeah, I've got to go under that 2.5 number. By the way, one other thing, because it pertains to a horse that you have. What if Emmanuel is just a freak of a freak and Glider comes up here and wins, right? This is a horse that finished 2nd to Emmanuel. I think Glider's one you better watch too. But just that thought popped in my head as the number, as you said, the number 2. I thought, well, there's Glider. But yeah, under 2.5. I'm not crazy. I don't think we'll see 3 horses out of this race in the Derby. And if we do, we're probably going to be crying on Derby Day a little bit.
Well, yeah, no shit. The Saturday Derby preps, we have 3 Derby preps in 15 minutes, basically, and this is the first one. It goes the Gotham, the San Felipe, and then the Fountain of Youth to round things out. So obviously, Emmanuel being the last one of that leg there, you're right. I mean, if Glider goes and wins this, or flip side runs like shit, you kind of say, well, how good is Emmanuel? And I know you can't go too much down that road, but if he looks really good, Glider that is, and you're like, oh, okay. Or even a Dean's List, if he goes and wins, and that Pletcher doesn't like, Dean's List as much as as Emmanuel, and Saez rode both these horses and he stayed there at Gulfstream. Of course, makes sense for the whole card, but yeah, I mean, so there is some to find out here with this race in terms of some of these other horses, what it might mean for down the road, right, or at least later in the day, in the next 15 minutes.
For sure.
We'll be doing a live stream, by the way, for the Derby preps on Saturday. So it's going to be insane, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like I told you, I'll be drinking one way or another, whether it be out of happiness or sadness of my horses being awful. But I think we all will, because it's been we've been working our asses off all week. And we will still for the next couple of days, that we were just going to relax and watch these three races.
Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a time. Yeah, that will be a lot of fun. And by the way, the Pletcher horses, they both broke their maidens on the same day, Dean's List and Emmanuel. So it's kind of cool that now they're in Derby preps on the same day as well. That's kind of neat.
Dude, back in December when I was, watching replays and researching for the draft, for the fantasy league draft, Dean's List and like you said, Dean's List and Emmanuel were both kind of at the same time. And so I ended up taking Emmanuel in the first round, and I had the second pick, and I was like, I think that's the horse. Even though he'd only won a maiden, he had the look of a horse. Like the way he moved, it looked like a horse that's going to be better as they get longer. And Dean's List to me was good, not great, and that's ultimately why I think I went the other way. And he just, I don't know, the Speightstown part scares you, He's just, I just don't view him as a serious Derby threat, whereas Emmanuel, had the look from day one as being like a serious threat. So lots to find out. And speaking of lots to find out, Halterman, what do you say? You want to go to the main prep race of the day? You feel like that's...
Yes, let's go to the main event.
The main event. Where's the... hang on. Let's go to the... hang on. Where's the main event? Is it this one?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Okay, there you go. I'm not going to play the whole thing. Let's go to Turfway Park. That's going to cap things off on Saturday, race 5, the John Battaglia Memorial Stakes, 125K, mile 16th on the all-weather track, of course. It is a Derby prep, 10 points, though, 10-4-2-1 for your top 4 finishers. And, of course, it is the major prep we're going to be talking about here. Tis the Bomb. McPeak, 5-2. We had, anytime we follow Tis the Bomb, wherever he goes, we're going to talk about it. Tis the Bomb shows up here. So McPeak says, that last one, he didn't run well. Didn't run well in the dirt. That didn't go as I planned it. I figured he'd run 7th, beating 20 in the Holy Bull. So now we're going to go to the all-weather track as a prep for the Derby, because of course we're not going to run him on the turf where he's ran great. He's won a grade 2. He nearly won the juvenile Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He did win if you cash a ticket. Halterman, you're not picking this horse. Please tell me you're not picking this horse here.
By the way, there is a turf race for 3-year-old males this weekend at Gulfstream Park where Tis the Bomb is based. Just saying. Okay, so, oh no. Dennis just said I'm on thin ice. Dennis, I'm on thin ice as well. I like the number 5 on thin ice.
Scratch him out.
I know. Oh boy. Well, we're either going to be partying Saturday night together or drinking together. Well, we'll drinking sadly together, Dennis, because I'm on the number 5 on thin ice. I kind of like this horse. 15-1. I hopefully get somewhere close to that. I doubt we do. Listen. 2 back, finished 3rd in the Grade 3 Gray Stakes at Woodbine, then came to Turfway Park for the debut last time out. Was 2nd, got beat by Tawny Port for Brad Cox. And Tawny Port did not do any running at Fairgrounds, but he had been pretty good at Turfway. So I wasn't too upset about that loss. Second off, kind of a layoff here. I think this horse looks pretty decent. Got Mark Casse. I think at 15-1, he makes a ton of sense. So I think number 5 on thin ice to pull an upset here. And mainly, I just hate the favorites.
Good Lord. Do you hear that on my end?
What is that?
They're building a house next door.
And
it feels like they're sawing through my wall. So I don't know.
Wow.
I might want to check that out. Yeah, it's really fun over here in this new neighborhood. But no, how about we do let's box up 15 to 1s. You want to do that? Let's do the 6 legendary lore. That's who I went with here. You look at those, this is a horse that it's just been like, one looked really good when he broke his maiden. The horse just hasn't been able to break through running in these allowance races. But since moving to the all-weather track at Turfway Park, the horse has been running a mile, finished third, beating a length, finished third, beating a neck. Now they're stretching out a little longer. I think he's going to give it a run here. You get Bejarano to stay aboard, which, Maury and Bejarano, I mean, I don't give a shit. But you watch Turfway. These guys team up all the time. I mean, it's like a 40-some%, 43%, 62%, the jockey trainer at Turfway alone, 62% these guys are hitting right now together. So to me, if you can get 15 to 1, the longer the better. Listen, this race, to me, this is the perfect race to go long shot.
Sure. I mean, it's Turfway. You got a bad favorite. I mean, what's the harm in it when you're playing horses at this price? And it's just like, sure, Tiz the Bomb could come here and win, but you're not going to play that horse at a short price, and he will be. So you just take a shot against him, and if you're wrong, you're wrong. But I'm with you. You gotta try to get some value here. This horse is just too questionable, and this is again a third surface, 3 different races, 3 different surfaces. I'm with you. Give it a shot.
This horse has ran at Churchill, Ellis, Kentucky Downs, Keeneland, Del Mar, Gulfstream Park, now Turfway, in a matter of less than a year. I mean, it's just a fabulous training job. And, part of me hopes he does win, though, because it's like, what's next? Is it the Florida Derby? Because all of a sudden, or are we just going to go the synthetic route? And, and then he shows up to the Kentucky Derby and finishes 18th. It's just insane, and just like you say, think of the races this horse could be running in, not just now, but say Derby Day. There's some turf action that this horse could be just racking up money, could be racking up wins, could be all kinds of black type there, and keeps running in these races. So I mean, because the thing is too, dude, it's like, what even if the horse wins? To me, there's nothing that could happen in this race where you're like, oh yeah, like, okay, Tiz the Bomb, like he might be the real deal. The purse is tiny compared to a regular Derby prep or whatever, or a big time graded stakes race on the turf. So it's like, what are you going to learn out of it? So I don't know, but to me, you and I are both playing against them, and we're boxing up the 5 and the 6, 2 15 to 1 shots here in the very, very tough John Battaglia Memorial Stakes at Turfway Park.
So just for clarification, same purse on the turf at Gulfstream, where he's stabled, and they've chose to ship him to Turfway to run on a different surface for the exact same purse.
Yep.
Even if you wanted to go to the whatever they call that now, the Jeff Ruby Stakes, you could prep at Gulfstream, right? Like, I don't get it.
By the way, I had a very good clip, or a funny clip for the bonus race, and I forgot to press the button. So it was going to be good, but I'll put it in post whenever I'm doing the actual podcast. But what I was going to say is we got bonus race action at Turfway Park. Okay. I mean, come on. You got the old school Nintendo sounds, and then you got Michael Scott. It's great episode, good. By the way.
That's good.
No love for Erase. Gabe wants to know. What do you think? I mean, I to me, there's a bunch in here. Yeah. Where is he? Oh yeah, the Brad Cox, the 8 horse. I thought the 1 was interesting too. If you're playing, if you're playing tournaments, the 1 is interesting if you need a huge price, because I think the horse is gonna. It's the other Maury horse, so I kind of that's why I didn't go there. But the horse drawing the rail, stretched out last time and won at Turfway. So to me, this horse is on the front end. This horse is gonna go, and so it's just like to me, if you're like looking for that horse, it's just gonna try to go gate to wire. Golden Eye, which by the way is an awesome name. To me, is a horse they would use for that might be a horse I use in tournaments, but. Yeah, to me, there's not any horse in here. Like you say, no love for a race. Like, sure, he could win.
Probably going to be too short of a price in comparison to what his chances to win the race are. That if that makes sense. That's kind of my thought on him. I think he has a shot. I don't think he's got a 3-1. I need to bet him at 3-1 type shot because I do think he might be the second choice coming off that race last time out. So that's kind of where I'm at, but I get it. I do think there's a chance he can win the race for sure.
All right. Oh man. All right. So all the time we have, check out racingdudes.com for our free picks and of course our premium selections on our products page. Click the Get Racing Dudes premium button on the menu at racingdudes.com to learn more. Remember, go check out that inside track to the 2022 Fountain of Youth wagering guide. It's now available. Everything we talked about except for, the John Battaglia. You can get premium picks for that. But everything else we talked about is on there, including the entire card at Gulfstream Park. So you get 11 stakes races, 16 pages in total on that wagering guide. Go get that right now at racingdudes.com. We are your destination site for all free horse racing picks to all the major horse racing tracks. We're on Twitter at racing_dudes, Instagram and Facebook. You can check out all episodes of Blinkers Off by visiting our podcast page, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all the places you listen to podcasts. We are available. You can watch all of these as well. The video version on our YouTube page. So, and again, we will be live on Saturday I imagine it'll be around, what time was that first one? Like 4?
Yeah, probably from 4 to 5 Central Time, 5 to 6 Eastern Time. We'll be on
somewhere in there. I bet it's about an hour. Yeah.
We'll do the big 3.
Gotham's at 5:27 Eastern.
Yeah.
So that 5 to 6 would be probably Eastern would be when we will be live on Saturday. Of course, covering all 3 Derby preps, recapping those, what we saw. I'm sure we'll have some interesting reactions to that as well. Go check out the Magic Mike show later today, 4 p.m. Central Time. They do the Coast to Coast All Turf Stakes Pick 5 between Gulfstream, Santa Anita, and Santa Anita. So Gulfstream and Santa Anita. Is that still happening with the? Is that? Oh, it's Saturdays. Never mind. So yes, they will be doing that as well. 4 p.m. later today. Final thoughts, Halterman. What do people need to keep in mind as they're watching these Derby preps this weekend?
God, they just need to have a good time. That's all they need to keep in mind.
Just have a good time.
It's our job to sit there and try to analyze every move that these horses make. You people listening, go get drunk, play the races, have fun, hang out with your friends. Just have a good time. That's what you need to know. We'll tell you how it all shakes down on the live show. You guys just have fun.
Don't worry about it, guys.
No.
I like this Halterman version. We need to do the show earlier in the day. You're in a better mood.
Well, I mean, really, I'm envious of you guys. You guys just go and have a good time. You don't have to work. Just have fun.
It's a big weekend. It's a huge turning point for the road to the Kentucky Derby. Obviously with Emmanuel being the key there. But after this, of course, you get the Tampa Bay Derby, you get the Louisiana Derby, the UA Derby. I mean, the Florida Derby. It's this game on. This is the first of actually last week, but the Rebel didn't really produce anything. But it's the first. You kind of feel like this weekend is when you really start to find out about a bunch of these horses, especially a horse like Emmanuel in the Fountain of Youth that is so highly touted, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, last year on this weekend, we found out that Life is Good was the best horse in the crop, and it wasn't going to be close, and it wouldn't have been, but he got hurt. But we were able to hold on to that information and then cash on him later. So, yeah, I mean, this is it's very likely somebody's going to jump off the screen Saturday. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't. But these are the kind of weekends where the Derby runners or the Derby winners run. So yeah, I mean, like I said, enjoy it, have fun.
Speaking of him, I saw there's a good press release out today from Naira about a bunch of Pletcher horses. Life is Good, continuing to train towards, of course, the Dubai World Cup, March 26th. So that's still the plan for Life is Good. Malathot, look, she's looking like she's going to be coming up here pretty soon. Command Performance, another 3-year-old for Pletcher. Looks like he's going to be returning to the track soon, and then a Derby prep to follow that. Let's see who else was on there. You've got Major General. Looks like he's going to be targeting the Tampa Bay Derby.
Good horse.
He's kind of a horse that you kind of been forgetting about. 14th in the rankings, right, or 14th in the point standings with 10 points. So Tampa Bay Derby, if he goes and wins that or runs well, I mean he's in, right? He's got the points, and so that's the thing about these Pletcher horses is you've got a horse like Major General, you got the horse like Command Performance, who kind of we've seen they've already got points. We've seen, but we haven't seen them yet this year, and so they could jump in and get first or second or third, I guess, depending on the prep, and get in there as a Pletcher horse, because I mean the Pletcher list goes on and on. It feels like with these 3-year-olds and some of these that we haven't even talked about. So American Revolution, he's going to be coming back soon. I've been looking forward to seeing him come back because he looked so good in the Cigar Mile last year. So lots of Pletcher action coming up. Let's see. Any final comments on here? Any thoughts on third place finisher versus Emmanuel coming back to crap the bed? Ashley wants to know.
No. It's an allowance at Tampa Bay down. So there's a chance they all could do that.
And he beat the shit out of the field.
Yeah, he beat him by like, I don't know how many links. Like it was days back to him. So no, none.
What's interesting? Echo Zulu versus Secret Oath, Gunrunner versus Arrogant again. There you go. That'd be kind of cool, right?
Yep.
To me, Secret Oath, not to keep harping on the Secret Oath talk, but to me, in a year that with the Baffert situation, all that bullshit, it's like so fitting for Lucas to kind of say, you know what, I'm back. I'll have 2 horses hopefully running in the race. One of them's a filly. Maybe she wins the damn thing. It would be kind of a great way to, you talked about in a video on our YouTube channel about kind of getting the Derby back to normal, because it's been so long. It feels like since we've had like a normal Derby. Well, that would be anything but normal, but in a good way. If we had a filly run well or even win the damn thing for D Wayne, right? So he can do it. So it'd be a great way to kind of flip it around on a good way.
It would be nice. It would be very nice to have a positive story of some sort coming out of the Kentucky Derby. Yeah, that would be great. I hope it happens. It's bizarre. It's the guy's 86 and here he is. He's still there and he's still got these 2 horses. You just never can count him out. I mean, after the bravazzo, it's like, yeah, he's just time's running out. No. Sure not. He's back again. So, it would be something. I know everybody is really pulling for him, the Oakland locals especially, to keep having big success with Secret Oath. And yeah, I mean, on the Colt, we'll see. He's obviously not great right now, but kind of his specialty, taking not great horses and winning a race somewhere that he probably shouldn't win, right?
Let's get Secret Oath to win the Kentucky Derby and then show up and have to beat Messier for Bob Baffert.
Run, you little bitch.
I mean, what more could you want? I just looked for a reason to play that clip, by the way. So.
Yeah, I was going to say that was definitely
a stretch.
Staged. Yeah,
it's a stretch. Yeah, that's a stretch. I get it.
Yeah, I liked it.
Do you think this is a good question, real fast by Suzanne? Early voting. So that horse kind of got flattered, I guess, by the last week's result, maybe with the one-eyed horse in the Rebel. So do you, or did it?
If you remember, everybody made fun of me, but I said early voting was pretty good in the Withers. I wouldn't just completely toss him out. Now, did I think that one-eyed horse was going to come back and win? No. But he did beat that horse by 4.5, which means something. Like, he didn't beat him by a head in the Withers. He dominated. He was in a race of his own. So, yeah, I don't think it hurts him. I don't think it means that much versus how bad everybody else ran in the Rebel, though. So that's kind of where it is. But I don't think early voting's that bad anyway. Like, no matter what Unoho would have done.
It's the one-eyed bandit is what that translates.
Right, yes.
I looked it up. The one-eyed bandit is what that does. So, all right, guys, that's a wrap for the show. We will be back this weekend on Saturday doing a live reaction to these 3 Derby preps. Again, the Magic Mike Show will be live later today at 4 p.m. Central. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Alterman. Good luck this weekend.
This has been a presentation of RacingDudes.com, your destination for all things horse racing and sports betting. Whether you want free winners, expert insider picks, up-to-the-minute trackside weather reports, or podcasts and videos for bettors of all skill levels. Never make another wager without visiting the Racing Dudes. First,